I was talking to a friend of mine who happens to be a pretty smart guy, and he was explaining to me that a diamond is just carbon, same stuff as coal, until it's put under incredible pressure deep in the earth for a long time. It doesn't happen overnight. And I thought that was just fascinating because to me it sounded a lot like the story of life. We start as raw material, ordinary, common, and the question is, will we stay common? Or will we submit ourselves to the kind of pressure that turns us into something rare, something valuable? Now, let me tell you something: pressure comes to everybody. It's not a matter of if, it's only a matter of when and how. The question is never whether life will put you under strain. The question is what you will become because of it. Some people, when the pressure comes, they break, others bend, and then straighten back up, and a few, just a few, allow the pressure to transform them. See, pressure is the test of character. Anybody can look good when it's springtime. Anybody can smile when the bills are paid and the children are healthy. But when winter comes, that's when you find out who's been preparing. That's when you find out what you're made of. And the promise is this: if you stand the test, if you let it work on you instead of running from it, the very same pressure that could have crushed you will refine you. Now here's the key: pressure by itself doesn't guarantee a diamond. Coal under pressure in the wrong conditions stays coal. It's pressure plus heat plus time plus the right environment, and that's exactly how it is with people. Pressure alone just makes people bitter, but pressure combined with the right philosophy, with discipline, with patience, that's where transformation takes place. Some people run from the very conditions that would have made them great. They say it's too hard. They quit the business. They leave the relationship. They walk away from the challenge. And I'm not saying there aren't times to change course, but I am saying don't quit just because it's uncomfortable. Growth and comfort never ride the same horse. When I started building a business, every day felt like pressure, rejection, disappointment, people telling me no, people not showing up. I thought, man, this just isn't working. But then I realized that was the point. It was supposed to be hard. It was supposed to stretch me, because if it were easy, why wasn't everybody else doing it? Because if it were easy, what would it make of me? Not much. But by staying in the pressure, I was becoming more than I'd been before. So the question for you today is this: what pressure are you under? What weight do you feel pressing on your shoulders? Don't despise it, don't curse it. Ask instead what the pressure is trying to make of you. What kind of diamond is it? Shaping. Because here's the truth: success is not so much what you achieve, it's who you become, and the becoming process. Requires pressure. Without it, you stay soft. With it, you develop edges, clarity, brilliance. Now, when we talk about pressure, creating diamonds, we've got to remember something important: it doesn't happen on the surface. A diamond doesn't form out in the open air, where it's easy, where the sun is shining and the breeze is gentle. No, it happens deep down, hidden, unseen. And that's how life works. The greatest changes take place when nobody's watching. See, the world loves the finished diamond, the sparkle, the brilliance, the price tag. But it forgets the years of pressure in the dark that produced it. How many times have you seen somebody look at someone else with money and say how lucky they are? Nice car, so lucky to have a big house, so lucky to have money put away in the bank. No, they're not lucky. They went through SESONS of pressure. You never saw they endured the grind. They stayed put while others ran away. They faced rejection, ridicule, and failure. And they didn't cave in. I remember a time when I had to drive hundreds of miles just to give a seminar to a handful of people. Sometimes only 2 or 3 showed up. Now you might say, Jim, why not skip it? Why not wait until the crowd is bigger? But no, those NIGHTS were MY diamond years. That was pressure working on ME learning, to give my best even when the room was nearly empty. And you know what happened, those small NIGHTS prepared me for the big nights. By the time the crowd was large, I was ready, so don't despise small BEGINNINGS. Don't resent the season of obscurity. That's where the pressure is doing its work. It's better to sweat in practice, then bleed in the game. It's better to go through pressure in the dark, then collapse in the spotlight. Now, here's another angle you can look at it from. Pressure is not only something life gives you, it's also something you can give yourself. That's called discipline. Discipline is self-imposed pressure, GETTING, up earlier than you feel like. Saving money when you'd rather spend it reading the book. When the TV looks easier, that's pressure you decide on. And that pressure applied daily steadily forms your character. Mr. Chef always used to say, don't wish it was easier, Jim, wish you were better. Because wishing for no pressure is wishing to stay cold, wishing for less challenge is wishing to stay ordinary. The wise wish is to grow stronger, to increase your capacity. So the pressure doesn't crush you but crafts you. And remember, pressure isn't permanent. A season of hardship is not a life sentence. It's a phase like the seasons of the year. It will pass. Winter doesn't last forever, but if you don't endure winter, you never see spring. If you don't endure the shaping, you never see the diamond. So today, I want to remind you, don't just look at the pressure you're under and say, why me? Look at it and say, what for? Maybe the business setback isn't punishment. It's preparation. Maybe the health struggle isn't just pain, it's teaching patience and gratitude. Maybe the financial difficulty isn't the end, it's sharpening your resourcefulness. Pressure always has a purpose. The tragedy is not pressure, the tragedy is wasting it. If life puts you in the furnace, don't crawl out too soon. Stay in long enough to let the heat do its work. Stay in long enough to come out shining. A diamond isn't just beautiful. It's useful. It cuts through the hardest material it serves. And that's what pressure can make of you. Not just someone admired, but someone useful, someone strong enough to help others. Cut through their own hard places. Pressure, it's not just an event, it's a teacher if you'll let it. Pressure will educate you, it will reveal where you're strong and where you're weak, it will expose the cracks. And the good news is, once you see the cracks, you can do something about them. I'll never forget when I first started in business. I thought I was ready, I thought I had the right attitude, the right energy, but then the pressure showed up. A no-show here, a canceled order there. Suddenly my confidence wasn't so high. That's when I learned confidence that can be destroyed by circumstances. Isn't real confidence, it's borrowed confidence, it's surface level press. You forced me to build something deeper. Pressure is like a mirror, it doesn't lie, it shows you who you are. That's why some people avoid it. They don't want to know, they'd rather stay comfortable. Even if it means staying ordinary, but if you're brave enough to face it, you'll discover the truth. And that truth can set you free. Pressure without purpose can feel like torment, but once you attach purpose to pressure, it becomes training an athlete runs miles, with no ball, no crowd, no applause. That's pressure. But it's not torment, it's training. And the reason he can handle it is because he knows what it's for. So the key is this: you've got to decide why you're willing to endure pressure. What's your diamond? What picture of the future keeps you steady while life is pressing on you? If you don't have that, you'll give up too soon, but if you do, you'll endure far more than you ever thought possible. When I started saving money, it was pressure. I wanted to spend my friends spent, but I said no. I carried that pressure. Why? Because I could see a future. where I wasn't broke anymore, where I had options, and that picture pulled me through. That's why I tell people, don't just work hard for a reason. You see. Pressure will try to convince you that it's permanent, but it's not. The emotion of the moment always feels endless. When you're under stress, the mind says that it will always be this way, but it won't, just like the earth shifts, and over time, produces a diamond. Your life can shift to what feels unbearable now. May be the very season you'll thank later. I used to wonder why things were so tough. Until I realized it was supposed to be tough. Easy doesn't change you. Easy doesn't demand growth. And growth is the price of becoming valuable. Value isn't handed out, it's earned. Just like the earth doesn't hand out diamonds on the surface, life doesn't hand out greatness without a struggle. So I ask you, what if you changed the way you looked at pressure? What if, instead of living, it was killing you? You began to see it as shaping you. What if stress wasn't the enemy but the sculptor? Suddenly the same weight that felt like punishment begins to feel like purpose. And here's a truth I've seen over and over: the stronger the pressure, the greater the potential. Coal, BCOMES, a diamond not in comfort, but in intensity. And people, ordinary people, become extraordinary in the very same way. But only if they stay long enough, only if they don't run from the process, only if they commit to becoming more. Because the world doesn't need more coal, it needs more diamonds. People of strength, people of clarity, people who have been through the fire and come out shining. One thing I've learned about pressure is this: it doesn't ask your permission. It doesn't leave you a little note that says, "Would now be a good time?" No, it arrives uninvited. The job loss, the business setback, the strained relationship, and right there you have a choice: resist and complain, or accept and adapt. Now here's what separates people. Some let pressure define them. They lose a job and decide they're a failure. A relationship ends and they conclude they must be broken. But others let pressure refine them. They lose a job and choose to sharpen their skills. A relationship ends and they learn what they didn't see before. Same event, different outcome. The deciding factor is philosophy. Philosophy is what keeps pressure from being destructive. Without philosophy, pressure feels meaningless. With the right philosophy, pressure becomes a lesson. And here's the good news: you get to choose your philosophy. Nobody chooses it for you, but here's the thing: you have to choose it every day. Pressure is like WIGHTs in the gym. Without them, there's no muscle. But too many people walk into life's gym and complain about the WIGHTs. They say they're too heavy. They say it hurts. Well, of course, it hurts. That's the point. The pain of today produces the strength of tomorrow. I remember traveling with some of the top leaders in business. They seemed so confident, so polished. And I assumed they must have been born that way, but when I asked, every one of them had a story of pressure. A story of nearly quitting, a story of rejection, failure, or hardship. They weren't polished from the beginning. The polish came from the grind. That's why I tell people, don't envy the diamond without respecting the pressure. Don't admire the brilliance while ignoring the years of heat and weight it took to get their admiration, without understanding leads to jealousy. But admiration with understanding leads to discipline. And discipline is how you put yourself under chosen pressure before life forces it on you. If you discipline yourself, life doesn't have to discipline you as harshly. If you save money, you don't face the pressure of debt. If you eat well and exercise, you don't face the pressure of disease in the same way. If you study and learn, you don't face the pressure of ignorance. So pressure can either be your enemy or your ally. It depends on whether you choose it early or it finds you unprepared. One way or another, you'll face it. And let me remind you, pressure revals potential. You don't even know what you're capable of until the weight is on your shoulders. You think you can't handle it. But then you think you'll collapse, but somehow you stand, and after that, your confidence grows not because life got easier but because you proved to yourself. You were stronger then. You thought that's the diamond moment. Not just when the world sees you shining, but when you know inside that you can handle it. You can endure, you can keep going. That's when you realize you're not the same person. Here's something I want you to write on your mental chalkboard today. Pressure without response is wasted. Life doesn't just measure what happens to you, it measures what you do with it. See, everyone gets tested, everyone gets SEASONS of stress, but not everyone responds the same. Some fold, some fight, some flourish, and the difference isn't the pressure. It's the response. When I was struggling in MY20, I kept thinking if only the pressure would stop, then I could succeed, but later I realized that was backwards. The pressure wasn't going away, the world wasn't going to suddenly hand me success. What had to change was me. I needed to increase my capacity to respond. Capacity, that's the real goal. Don't wish for lighter loads. Build stronger shoulders. Don't wish for fewer problems, develop more skills. Because once you increase your capacity, what used to feel like crushing weight suddenly feels manageable. Same pressure, bigger person. Now let me give you an example. Imagine two people carrying buckets of water. One has a little pail, the other has a large one. The river doesn't care, the flow is the same. But the one with greater capacity walks away with more, and life is the same way. The pressure is distributed unevenly depending on the size of your character. Build more character and suddenly the same stress that breaks others strengthens you. But let me add this, diamonds aren't just strong. You recut their shape. Pressure gets you halfway, refinement finishs the job. That's why mentorship is so valuable. Someone to shape you, guide you, polish you. Pressure creates the diamond, but guidance brings out the brilliance. Mr. Shoaf was that for me. He didn't reduce the pressure in my life, he increased it. He raised the standard. He expected more. He said, Jim, you can't just get by, you've got to get better. And in the moment that felt like more weight, but over time it became the shaping of my life. So run from people who challenge you. Don't avoid the leaders who demand more. They're the polishers. They're the cutters. Without them, you may remain a rough stone. Valuable but never shining. Now, let's talk about endurance, because pressure doesn't create diamonds instantly. It's not one bad day, one tough week. It's consistency, it's time. It's patience, and patience is one of the rarest virtues. Today, people want diamonds on day one. But if you can't endure the season, you'll never see the product. When I first began speaking, I didn't think I was very good. I stumbled, I rambled. Sometimes I just wanted to walk off stage. I went home one night thinking, maybe this just isn't for you. But I stayed under the pressure. I kept speaking, kept learning, kept refining, and little by little, my words got sharper. My stories landed. My confidence grew. You see, without endurance, there would have been no seminar, no stage, no audience. Just a man who quit too soon. So, here's the challenge. Don't give up during the shaping process. Don't bail out during the cutting. Stay in it, stay steady, because the pressure is temporary. But the diamond lasts, and remember, the brilliance of a diamond is only seen after it's lifted out of the dark, meaning one day your endurance will pay off. One day the value will show, and people will ask how you did it, and you will know it was the pressure that did it. Pressure doesn't just apply to business or money, it shows up in every area of life. Wealth, health, relationships, leadership, it's all the same law. Pressure creates diamonds if you let it. Let's start with wealth, the pressure of money, TEACHES discipline. If you've ever been broke, you know the pressure. Bills stacked up, phone calls you don't want to answer. I've been there at 25. I was embarrassed by BYMY situation. That pressure forced me to learn the value of a dollar, to respect time, to save instead of spend. If I hadn't felt the weight of being broke, I'd have never learned how to become wealthy. So even financial pressure is a gift if you let it push you toward wisdom. Now, let's look at health. Your body is under constant pressure. Stress, age, environment, habits, they all apply weight. And what you choose to do with that pressure, determines your vitality. Exercise itself is just chosen pressure. Lifting, WEIGHTS, is pressure on your muscles. Running is pressure on your lungs, but that chosen stress makes you stronger. It's no different than life. You either avoid the pressure and stay weak, or embrace it and build resilience. RELATI, SHIPS. Yes, they bring pressure to living with someone, working with someone. RAISING. Children, it's not easy. Friction is natural, but remember. Friction, POLISHES, IT, SMOOTHS, the rough, EDGES. If you run every time, the relationship, GETS, tense. You never get the diamond, the MISUNDRSTNDNGS, the compromises, the ADJUSTMNTS. Those are the very pressures that build depth. Love without testing is shallow. Love tested by pressure can endure. And leadership, that's pressure, MULTIPLID. The pressure isn't just your own, it's the weight of others, DEPNDING, on you. When you're a leader, every decision, CARRIES, consequence. Every action ripples, and yes, it's heavy, but that weight, DEVELOPS, wisdom. Vision, steadiness. A leader who has never felt pressure cannot be trusted. It's the pressure that QLFIS them. Think about it. The greatest leaders we admire were not formed in comfort. They were forged in struggle. They ENDURED, sleepless nights, impossible choices, constant resistance, but instead of cracking, they crystallized. The pressure gave them clarity, and that's why they could stand when others fell. Here's what I've noticed: pressure in one area can strengthen you in another. The discipline you learn in FINANCES, CARRIES over into health, the endurance you develop in RELATIONSHIP, CARRIES over into business life is interconnected. If you handle pressure in one part, you're better equipped everywhere. Now, let's address something important. Some people think pressure is punishment. Why is this happening to me? Why do I have to suffer? But pressure, punishment, it's preparation. Punishment ends in pain. Preparation ends in strength. And the difference is perspective. When I was broke, I could have seen it as punishment. But I chose to see it as training. When I faced rejection in business, I could have quit in bitterness. Instead, I decided that it was teaching me persistence. You see that little shift in view? Turn pain into progress. So, ask yourself, where is the pressure in your life right now? And then ask, what is it preparing me for? Because every pressure has a lesson, every weight has a purpose. And let me add this: the bigger the dream, the heavier the pressure. Don't pray for the pressure of a diamond life. If you're not willing to carry the weight of a diamond process, that's the law. Want small results, face small pressure. Want big results, be ready for big weight. The good news is you can handle it. Not all at once, but gradually. The earth doesn't turn carbon into diamonds overnight. It takes years, even CENTURIS, and in the same way your growth will take time. But if you stay with it, if you keep your philosophy strong, the result is guaranteed. Pressure has one final gift. It calls you to maturity. It says, step up, grow up, take responsibility. And that's a call we all need to answer. Because the world doesn't reward excuses. The world, results, And pressure is life's way of asking, are you ready? When the storm comes, the child asks. Why me, the adult, asks what now? Maturity is the ability to stop blaming. Stop complaining and start responding, and pressure is the test. I used to blame everything. The government, the economy, my boss, and my family. I had a whole list of reasons why I wasn't doing well. And guess what? None of those reasons paid the bills. None of them changed my life. Then one day, under the pressure of embarrassment, I decided to take responsibility, and from that day forward, everything began to change. Responsibility is a form of pressure. It's the weight of ownership. It's saying this is mine to fix, mine to build, mine to carry. And though it feels heavy, that's the very pressure that grows you up. Without responsibility, you stay a child forever. With it, you become a diamond. Now here's something to remember. Pressure doesn't weaken character. It exposes it. If you've cut corners, if you've been dishonest, pressure will bring it to the surface. If you've been faithful, if you've been diligent, pressure will reveal that too. That's why it's better to live clean before the pressure comes. Then, when the weight is applied, why? Will stand, not collapse. I've watched people under pressure turn bitter, and I've watched people under the same pressure turn better. The difference is choice. The pressure is neutral. It's your response that decides the outcome. So today, here's what I'm asking of you. Don't wish the pressure away. Embrace it. Don't pray for less challenge. Pray for more wisdom. Don't ask for fewer problems. Ask for greater skill. That shift in mindset transforms everything. Because the truth is the future belongs to those who can handle pressure. Leadership, wealth, influence, contribution, they're all reserved for people who can carry weight without braking. And here's the promise: if you can handle the pressure of today, you qualify for the opportunity of tomorrow. Now, let me tell you, the diamond is not for decoration. It's for demonstration. It demonstrates what's possible. It proves that pressure can be endured. That struggle can be survived. That value can come out of difficulty, and your life can be that demonstration. People are watching you, your children, your friends, your peers. They're asking, how will you handle the weight? And your answer becomes their model. So don't waste the moment. Don't shrink under the load. Stand up, lean in. Take it, because when you do, you give permission for others to do the same. And remember that pressure never lasts forever. But the diamond does. The sleepless nights will pass. The hard season will end. The trial will lift. But what you become in the process, that stays, that's permanent, that's yours forever. I want you to leave today with this etched in your mind: pressure is not the enemy. Pressure is the pathway. When you walk out of here, life isn't suddenly going to get lighter. Tomorrow you'll face the same bills, the same challenges, the same responsibilities. But now you'll know what to do with them. You'll know that every ounce of weight pressing on you is an invitation to grow, to mature, to become more. Don't ask for ease. Ease will not make you strong. Don't wish for comfort. Comfort will not make you valuable. Instead, accept the pressure. Work with it. Let it shape you, because on the other side of that pressure is the person you were meant to become. Think of the diamond buried in the dark, pressed by the earth, squeezed, heated, pushed, and yet because it endured, because it didn't quit, it came out shining. That can be you. That should be you. Not coal forever, but diamond at last. The greatest tragedy is not that people face pressure. The tragedy is that they run from it. They give up too soon. They settle for less when more was possible. Don't let that be your story. Waste the sons that were meant to make you. From this day forward, decide to stand under the load. Decide to grow through the trial. Decide that pressure will not crush you. It will craft you. That's the choice, and if you'll make it, you'll look back years from now and thank the very weight you once cursed. And isn't that the goal, not just to make a living but to make a life, not just to exist, but to shine, to leave something behind that proves the pressure was worth it. So today let the lesson be simple. Don't quit under pressure. Don't complain under pressure. Don't run from pressure, use it. Master it, grow because of it, because when the story is told, the world doesn't remember the coal, it, remembers the diamond.